Yeah. All right. And then looking at some 2025 event leaderboards, if you go to our Prep Baseball Illinois website, go to the drop down, go to showcases, and click that 2025 event leaderboard button, you'll see all of our stat leaders throughout the 2025 showcase campaign. And this week we are highlighting the pitchers. So if you guys got a name that you want to touch on, feel free to get in there.
I was gonna say I feel like I always go first, so I sometimes I feel bad, but not in this case if it means I'm cutting you off, Gavin. So I'm gonna go Austin Wingy out of Lockport, 2027. Oh, Dane, I'm sorry. Um, I feel bad if I actually did that to Dane. So, but anyway, I'm sticking with Austin Wingy here out of Lockport. Was a future gamer on Team Select for us, but I got a very abbreviated look at him in the spring, closing out a game for Lockport. But where he falls on the leaderboard is at 13th with a max fastball velocity of 92. For a young guy, it's really impressive. To me, it's very impressive the fact that he can translate that in game. When I saw him in the spring, obviously pitching out here in Illinois in like March and April, it's not the warmest, and he was running up to 90 and 92 there. So I think that says a lot about him and the talent that he's not just a bullpen guy. He can do it in game. And another thing that I thought was interesting was we had two of his teammates on our senior future games team, and Adam Kozak and Drew Satunis, and they both spoke glowingly about him. And to me, if you got the respect of your peers, that says a lot. So, Austin Wingy.
Yeah, right-handed pitcher Josh Jones from Normal Community. He's a senior committed to Indiana State. He was up to 91 this year. I believe it was at the Illinois State Games, but at a summer tournament, this wouldn't be included in the leaderboard. He was up to 92 throughout the summer, but at one of our showcases, Illinois State Games, he was 91. But he's a really easy mover, and it's very minimal effort. And I feel like his velo just continued to spike this year. Like I saw him in the spring, and at times he was like maybe low mid 80s or something. And then coming into the summer, I feel like it was just a huge jump for him, consistently getting up to that 90, 91 mark, and then obviously touching 92 at a tournament this summer. But he shows two different breaking balls and a curveball and slider, and then also has a changeup too. But for me, what I really like is just the ease and looseness of his delivery. And again, how there's really no effort there, and it's just an easy 91, 92.
I'll jump in here with Kenan Baxley from Caneland of 2028. I mean, you want to talk about spin metrics? This kid led the entire state in average curveball spin rate, averaging 3,100 RPMs, which is just insane. And he was over 3,200. And like, obviously the spin itself is pretty insane, but like he was also averaging a negative 19 IVB, which is just an absolute top to bottom banger. And then you look at the athlete he is. He's a 6'9" runner. He's a really, really interesting two-way that can swing it and pick it on the dirt. The fastball is in the upper 80s, and he's got a slider and a changeup, and he'll spin the slider in the mid 2000s as well. So the knack to spin it, I mean, that's the separator. It also really gets me excited about his future. I think the ceiling is very, very high there. There's a lot still to tap into. Those young kids that can spin it and spin it firm, like his curveball and slider are mid upper 70s, which is pretty firm. So I mean that just indicates more velocity to come there as well. And then the athlete he is, I mean he's a high level arm that definitely needs to be known.
I'll hop in here. I'm gonna go with my second choice now because Ty took my first. So I'm gonna go with Caleb Cox out of Springfield Lutheran. NIU commit. He tied for 29th in the max fastball velo with a 90.7 mile per hour fastball at the Peoria preseason ID, and he was up to 93 during the summer down at Lake Point. He's a 6'5", 185 frame, big body that tons of projectability. And then also his slider had a negative 13 inches average horizontal movement. So big body that's going to go to NIU and pitch very well, hopefully.
All right, I'll round us out here. I'm going with Brady Bunick from Libertyville 2027. He led the entire state when it comes to max fastball velocity at an event this season, or I guess this entire year, and it happened last winter, going into his, what would that be, his sophomore year. at the preseason All-State underclass. He sat 93-95, topped at 95.3. He's currently a top 50 national prospect in the class, number 2 in the state, right behind Caden Wisniewski. And he's got 3 pitches. He's a workhorse build at 6'3", 215. And I think the reason I wanted to pick him too is having something to do with the IHSBCA, like having our podcast and listening to Coach Thompson with Libertyville talk about the upcoming season and these arms that they lost at Libertyville. They also lost Josh Holst, who was a two-way standout for them. And just talking about their team and who's the next, up-and-coming guys. Well, they have a ton of them at Libertyville, but it starts with Brady Bunick. What can he do for Libertyville, and can he kind of take on that dominant role that I'm sure they're going to be looking for? So it's a huge spring coming up, his junior year. And what really got me excited was listening to him talk, potentially early on in the season, having a matchup against McHenry. Depending on the weather up there in the northern burbs of Chicago, will it happen? Will it be 20 degrees? We don't know, but if there's a way that Caden Wisniewski and Brady Bunick can match up, that's going to be a must-see game with 2 of the best arms in the country facing off early in the season, really kickstarting the year. So we'll see what happens there, but a ton to like with Brady Bunick, one of the top arms in the country, and really impressive that he set, the leaderboard. He was the top of the leaderboard his sophomore season with all the events that we run, touching 95.3. So that was my choice. I know that was maybe one of the easier targets there, but we got a lot of talent in the state, and he's one of the best.